Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Hope you all are doing well.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what we have done in the previous class?
Connecting private subnet to public subnet and creating internet gateway, route table, and launch
Hmm.
instance.
Yes. By that, we have completed how many modules?
5.
Five modules.
And what are they?
Cloud Essentials, IAM service, EC2 service, VPC service.
Yes. Very good. So, can I start now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So, today we are going to start a new model, that is storage. Under storage, we will be completing three services. There are three storage services, that is S3, EBS, and EFS. So first, we'll understand what is storage. And in storage, what we are going to learn, what is storage, storage as a service in AWS cloud, and types of storages and the use cases of that storage, the architect diagram of storage, frequently asked questions, and some labs. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, anyone, what is storage?
Which stores the information as a device,
Data.
It's where we store data, right?
data,
Yeah, data securely.
Yes.
information.
So storage is basically non-volatile memory. Non-volatile, it's basically you can retain the data after the power off. The data will be present in storage even after a power off, right?
Permanent
So
storage.
yes, permanent storage. So storage, it stores the data permanently in your personal computer, like operating system, applications, data. In the earlier class, we have learned, right? There is a hard disk. This is a hard, this is your personal computer. In personal computer, first, it will be a hard disk, right? What is hard disk? Permanent
Permanent
storage.
storage.
On hard disk, we install operating system, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
On operating system, we install applications. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So where we install all these applications and operating system?
Hard disk.
In storage, right?
Storage.
Hard disk.
Yes. So storage is to store permanent data in your PC, like operating systems, applications. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's understand what is SSD versus HDD. Earlier, this is a type of hard disk, SSD and HDD. Earlier, we used HDD. HDD stands for hard disk
Hard
drive.
disk. Yeah.
It looks like this, HDD, and this is SSD. So it was a storage. This is a storage. It was slow. Hard disk was slow. HDD was slow and it was cheaper in price and it was non-reliable. Like when you throw this HDD from the 10th floor, 99% chances were to break and 1% chances were to not break. So this was HDD. It was non-reliable. Then after a few years, now everyone are using SSD. SSD is solid state disk. It's a latest technology. It's faster and it's costlier compared to HDD, and it's more reliable. Like if you throw SSD from the 10th floor, there are 99% chances to not break. So it's more reliable. So now what we are using?
SSD.
SSD.
Clear everyone? SSD
Yes.
versus HDD?
Yes, ma'am. Last week only I changed my lappy from HDD to SSD, ma'am.
Okay.
Mine is SSD, ma'am.
Uh-huh. So now pros and cons of SSD versus HDD. SSD is faster, whereas HDD is slower. SSD is more expensive and HDD was cheaper. SSD non-mechanical and HDD mechanical. Like the moving disk. In HDD, there will be a moving parts, but SSD was still.
Mm.
SSD is shock resistant, whereas HDD is fragile. That when you throw it, it will break. It's fragile. And SSD, it's best for storing operating systems, gaming applications, and files. Whereas HDD is best for storing data like movies, photos, and documents. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so now types of storage in IT companies. There are two types of storage. One is local storage, the other is network storage. Network storage is basically a cloud storage. In local storage, what is local storage? Which is attached to your personal computer and it's used by single user like we are using SSD, right? It's known as local storage. And network storage is basically a cloud storage which is attached to network, not personal computer. It's a kind of a central storage in order to save cost. Like central storage used by multiple users. The data of multiple users will be stored in a storage that is known as central storage. From there, we can access the data in order to save cost. Clear, everyone? Local storage versus network storage. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay, so now what storage services AWS offers? There are three storage services which AWS offers. That is Amazon S3, Amazon EBS, and Amazon EFS. Simple storage service. Amazon S3 is simple storage service. Amazon EBS is elastic block store. And Amazon EFS is elastic file system. So how many storage services AWS offers?
3.
3.
What are they?
Amazon
Amazon
S3,
S3,
Amazon
Amazon
EBS, and
EBS.
Amazon EFS.
Yes. There are three storage services: Amazon S3, EBS, and EFS. Let's learn in detail about the storage services. Now, first, we are going to start with Amazon S3. What is the full form of S3? Simple storage
Storage
service.
services.
3S. That's why the name is S3. Clear, everyone? Simple storage service. It is a network public storage. Cloud public storage. Like publicly, everyone can access this storage and can store the data in S3. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's cheapest among all the three services. Like it's cheapest when compared to EBS and EFS. So S3 is cheapest. Please write points, everyone. It's a cloud public storage and it's cheapest compared to other two services, that is EFS and EBS. S3 is cheapest. and 11 nines durability. What is durability? The life of data. The life of data. If something happens to in availability zone 1A, then the data will be stored in availability zone B.
11 nines.
11 nines, 99.9999999% guarantee
Okay.
of your data. Clear? What is 11 nines durability?
Life of data.
Life of data. And it's unlimited storage. You can store unlimited data in S3. No limits to store data. It's unlimited. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Now, what kind of data you can store in S3? You can store objects. Now, what are objects? Audios. You can store audios in S3. You can store videos in S3. You can store photos, PDFs, and data backup. Like if you want to back up the data, you can store everything in S3. This is known as objects. So what kind of data you can store in S3? Objects data. Objects. That is also known as unstructured data. So audios, videos, photos, PDFs you can store in S3. And S3 also can be used to host static website. Easy, faster and cheapest cost. Now what's the difference between static website and dynamic website?
Dynamic, it interacts with the user, but
Static cannot change.
Private and public?
yeah. Static,
No,
it's
static
like
website.
static, you just read it.
Yes.
Doesn't change.
Static website where just we can read it. Where we don't need to give any input. But
Yeah,
dynamic
no
data
interaction
where we
with
give
the
any
user, yeah.
input.
Example of static website would be a blog,
No. See, for example,
user blog.
This is a
When you
Flipkart
read something.
application. This is a Flipkart
This is
website.
dynamic because we
Here-
have interactions with it.
Yes, we can interact to this website, right?
Yes.
We can buy, we can add to cart, right? So this will be
Yeah.
dynamic website. This is known as dynamic website. Now what is static website? Where just
When
we
you
can
just
see.
read files, like
More
read something.
confidential information which we not
Like when the author publishes
No, like
in
the
the
websites of schools
one
or
page.
colleges,
Yeah.
where we can just see like which courses are available, which subjects are there,
Okay.
That's
who
what
is
a
the
blog.
principal.
A blog can be
Okay.
a blogging
Yeah.
site can be a example.
Yes.
But blogs
So
have links as well. You know, you need to interact in some way or the other.
Yeah. So understood what is the difference between static website and dynamic website? So in S3, you can only host static website, but not dynamic website. In EC2, you can host static as well as dynamic website.
Okay.
Clear? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Here you cannot run operating system or applications in this storage. Like you cannot store operating system and applications in S3. In S3, you can only store audio, video, photos, and PDFs.
Okay.
Clear, everyone?
what is global access, ma'am, and bucket.
So the pricing model is pay as you go. How much you use, that much you need to pay. Like per GB, if you want to store per GB, 1 GB price is 0.023 USD. And what will be that? 0.0.
Around 1 or 2 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
Just check it, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
2 rupees. Almost 2 rupees. So per GB, 2 rupees in INR. Clear, everyone? Pricing model. How much you use, that much you need to pay. If you store 1 GB data, then 1 GB charges is 2 rupees. That is
It's very, very cheaper.
0.023 USD dollars per month.
No,
Like
but
if you
the
store
data amount of data that we store per GB, 1 GB for whole
1
month.
GB, yes, 1 GB is 2 rupees. For example, if you store 20 GB data
Okay.
in a month, then what will be your monthly charges?
20 into the
2
cost?
rupees. 20 into 2,
Yeah, it's like 40.
40 per month.
Okay.
Clear pricing model? Now, what's the scope here? Globally access. It's a S3. It's a global service. That is, which is in North Virginia, where everyone can access. Globally, everyone can access S3.
This
Now,
50
if I
50
open
TB.
S3 here, it will not show me the region. It will show, see, I'm into S3 now. It's a global service. Here you can, it will not be any region. It's global. Like it's for all regions. Clear, everyone? So S3 is a global service. And S3
Sorry, what
stores
is that 50
data.
TB per month? Up to 50
Okay,
TB?
so per month you can store up to 50 TB.
The limit, max
Storage
limit.
unlimited. Storage is unlimited. You can store unlimited data.
Okay.
But per month you need to upload 50 TB. You can store up to 50 TB. 50 TB is a lot.
Very
Like,
much, very lot.
yes, very much.
It's like 1000 and what, 1024
About that.
GB is 1
Yes.
TB.
Yes.
Okay.
So per month you can store up to 50 TB. Clear, everyone? Yes?
Yes,
Yes or
ma'am.
no?
Yes, ma'am.
S3, about S3. So you need to remember, if interviewer asks you about S3, you need to remember, you need to expand. It's a simple storage service. It's cheapest among all the services. It stores unlimited data. The durability is 11 nines, and it stores object data, object level data like audios, videos, photos, and PDFs. And you can also host static website here. Clear, everyone? It's a global service, and per GB you need to pay 0.023 USD. And S3 stores data in a container called bucket. So the resource of S3 is bucket. Like the resource of EC2 is instance. What is the resource of EC2?
We create
Instance.
instances.
Yes, in EC2 we create instances, right?
Yes.
It's like the
In
core
EC2,
use of
yes,
EC2.
yes. The resource of EC2 is instance. The resources of VPC is subnets, internet gateway, NAT gateway, and the resources of IAM.
Creating
What is the
users.
resource? Yes,
Creating IAM
user
users and
groups.
groups.
Yes, similarly here the resource of S3 is the name of the
Bucket.
service.
Hmm.
But where we store that object data in
Buckets.
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 Clear?
Yes.
Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear,
About
ma'am.
S3?
Clear, ma'am.
Sure, can I proceed?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let's learn about EFS. EFS stands for Elastic File System. It's a private cloud storage. S3 is a public cloud storage, and EFS is a private cloud storage. It will be only for internal team. And you can store unlimited data here. The durability same 11 nines, 99.99999, the life of data. And it's the pricing factor is pay as you go model. That is how much you use, that much you need to pay. And it's costlier than S3. EFS is costlier than S3. That is, per GB you need to pay 0.043. In S3 it was 0.023,
Yes.
right? In
Yeah.
EFS it's 0.043. That is almost 5 rupees or 4 rupees.
because it is at commercial level, and that is
Yes.
for just like normal public usage, global usage.
Yes.
It's private.
So it's costlier. EFS is costlier than S3. Per GB charges is 0.043. Then what will be if I want to store, like if I have stored 20 GB, then what will be my monthly charges?
0.045, which
Yes,
is
4 divided by 4 multiplied by
26.
20. Yes, 20. If I store 20 GB per month,
80 it will be 80,
yes,
double
yes.
the cost of that.
yes, 80. Clear about charges and what kind of data you can store in EFS? The
Dynamic.
applications, you can store apps and dynamic code. Now, what is dynamic code? The
WordPress.
programmer,
Python job.
yes,
Anyone
dynamic
can
code,
access,
the code which needs to be changed.
change.
Like there is a Flipkart application, there is a code of Flipkart application. Now, if I want to add a feature, if I want to add a notification feature in that, then I need to change the code, right?
Yeah. You need to go
Then
to the
it will
source
be a
code.
dynamic code.
Yeah.
It's known as the code which needs to be changed is known as dynamic code. So in EFS, you can store applications and a dynamic code. For example, WordPress application, PHP and Python, Java, the codes of these applications and dynamic code. And it's highly durable. That means if you upload a data in availability, how many availability zones?
3 availability zones.
Yes, in North Virginia, 6.
6.
Yeah.
Right? So it's highly durable. If you store data in availability zone A, then it will be copied in availability zone B and C. In order to make the storage, the data highly available and durable. If something happens to availability zone A, then data will be in availability zone B or C. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
It copies the data in multiple zones. And it only supports Linux machine. It uses NFS protocol to
That's a
EFS.
drawback then.
Yes, it's a drawback. It only supports Linux machine. And the protocol, which protocol we use to connect to Linux? SSH, right?
Yes, SSH.
Yes, ma'am.
Here for EFS and for EFS to communicate to EC2, we need NFS protocol. We use NFS protocol. And the scope is regional. EFS is regional. S3 is global, right? The differences between S3 and EFS. Please write the bullet points, everyone. EFS is Elastic File System. Here, what is the resource of EFS?
File system.
Yes, file system is resource of EFS.
That's why it is structured and that is unstructured.
Yes. And the protocol, which protocol we need here to communicate EC2 to EFS?
And NFS
NFS.
protocol. NFS is
NFS
what is the full form of
stands for
NFS?
Network File System. We need NFS protocol for communication to EFS and EC2. And it's regional. And here also, when a user store data, it will copy it on. It will
For
be copied
S3?
in all 3 availability zones.
For S3, which protocol?
S3 we don't need any protocol.
Transfer data. Achha, we don't need any protocol.
Yes, because it's a public storage.
Yeah, it is standard.
Public cloud. This is a private. For private, we need protocols, right?
Yeah.
Permissions. There, NFS. The protocol is NFS. And EFS store data in a container called file system. Clear, everyone, about EFS?
Yes, ma'am.
And S3? Which kind of data you store in S3?
Okay.
Static.
Global. Static. Yeah.
No, you store object data.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just audios, videos, photos, and PDFs. That's it. No operating systems, no applications, no dynamic data. Just what you can store here in S3.
Yeah, S3 is more towards storing personal
What if
data.
we store in this object
Yes.
we have any,
Reps and dynamic code we store.
we can
Yes.
host only static websites.
Yes, we can host a static website here, easy, faster, and in cheapest cost, because the cost is low here, right? If you want to host a static website, will you choose S3 or EC2?
S3.
S3
S3.
Because S3 is cheapest.
cheapest.
You can also host in EC2, but you need to choose S3 to save the cost.
Ma'am, please go to Elastic. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Please write notes, everyone.
Yes,
Clear
ma'am.
about EFS?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can I proceed with EBS?
Yes.
So now, what is EBS? EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. Elastic Block Storage. Here, what you can store in EBS? Operating systems and applications. Clear, everyone? In EC2, we have learned what is EBS. What is EBS? Volume, the hard
Elastic
disk.
block.
Right? In
Yeah.
hard disk, we store operating system and applications.
Yes, ma'am.
We have upgraded volume, right? We have
Yeah,
modified,
upgraded.
we have upgraded. So, elastic block storage, you can store operating systems and applications in EBS. And the pricing mode here is pay
Would be
as you
double.
allocate.
Okay.
S3 and EFS is pay as you go. That is how much you use, that much you need to pay. EBS is pay as you allocate. Like if you allocate 100 GB and used only 20 GB, AWS will charge for 100 GB. You need to allocate the GBs here. So if you allocate 50 GB, if you allocate 50 GB and you are using only 10 GB, then AWS charge for 50 GB
Allocation.
or 10 GB?
50 GB.
CTV.
Yes, because you have
50.
allocated the space already. We select the GBs, right? T2
Yes.
micro, T2 nano.
Yes.
Understood, everyone? The 8 GB. In the volumes, we select the 8 GB, the speed, we increase the speed, we increase the volume. There, if you allocate and if you use some like 20 GB or 30 GB, it will charge for that 100 GB. So it's known as pay as you allocate. So it's cheaper or costlier?
It's a costlier
Costly.
one.
Costlier.
Costly. Yeah, ma'am.
0.08
Costlier
GB per
compared to
month.
S3 and EFS. So EBS charges 0.08 per GB. So EBS charges 0.08 GB per month, like for per GB. And it will store data only in one zone. It will not copy to multiple zone. So something happens to availability zone A, then the data will be lost.
Who
It's
uses
not much
this
durable
EB,
compared to
like
EFS and S3. It's not durable because it only stores data in one zone, whereas S3 and EFS stores data in multiple zones.
So availability is
Yes, multiple availability zones. And EBS store data in a container called volume. The volume is the resource of EBS. And you can store maximum in each volume, you can store up to 16 TB of data.
So it has limit. It is not unlimited.
Yes, it's not unlimited. You can store
It is
16
costlier
TB.
than the rest too.
Yes, yes, it's costlier than EFS and EBS, EFS and S3.
Who uses this, ma'am? EBS?
EBS,
Users.
like if we launch a server, we use EBS. To store
Developers.
operating system, we need
Developers.
operating system, right? For
Yeah,
what is server?
Sorry?
We need operating system.
Yeah, mostly developers.
Yes. So they use
EBS.
EBS.
Developers use EBS.
But the previous one have more features now. Good features.
Yes.
Why they go for EBS, ma'am?
Because in
Okay.
EFS we can't launch operating systems, but here
Yes,
we
we
can launch
can't
operating
launch
systems.
Only the
operating system in
file.
EFS.
So it is just
EFS is made
to
only
maintain.
to store applications
Operating
and dynamic code. Storage S3 is only to store objects data, and EBS is only to store. No, EBS, in EBS you can store any kind of data, but you need to choose. What you need to choose? EBS. S3 you can see in EBS. In S3 you can, if you can store operating system, for example, if you are able to store operating system,
You are able to store the rest of the things.
We can
And
upgrade,
files and
upgrade
other
in
things
the S3, but here we should allocate a particular GB. But in the S3 we can, if we need, we can upgrade.
we need to always think about the pricing,
I
where we
think
can save our cost.
so. Better S3 is good.
Yes, see here in EBS we can store applications, in EFS also we can store applications, right?
True.
So what will we choose? As a good cloud engineer, what we need to choose to
EFS.
store? Why EFS?
Because it has less cost
It's
and
not
there
costly.
is unlimited data storage,
Costlier
and also it
And
makes the copies of the data.
And pay as you
But
go
it's
model.
costlier than
Very good.
S3 now, ma'am.
Yes, and it's pay as you go, whereas EBS is pay as you allocate,
Allocate, yeah.
which makes it costlier, right?
Yes.
S3 is more towards storing personal data,
Yes,
like personal files. If the developer wants to store some personal files, like
yes,
for his reference or something, it's more towards that.
yes, you can
S3.
store. Yes, that's why
This
it's
is good
public.
for companies, basically.
Not much for commercial use, like companies or
Yes.
like that.
Companies,
Yes.
privately.
Clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
S3, EFS, EBS. Any doubts in this three? It's very easy. Like what you need to remember.
Yeah.
S3 stores object data. EFS stores EFS stores applications and dynamic code, and EBS stores operating system. EBS is pay allocate, and whereas S3 and EFS
Pay
is
as you
pay
go
as you
model.
go. It's EBS stores data in one zone, and EFS and S3 stores data in multiple zones. Clear, everyone? There are, and you can store unlimited data. Here you can store up to 16 TB. And the resource of EBS is volume, the resource of EFS is file system, and the resource of S3 is buckets. That's it. Just you need to remember these points. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what is AWS Storage Gateway? Storage connector to connect AWS to on-premise. On-premise is basically any organization or company. So there is a data in a company. You want to link the data to AWS. This is a cloud and this is your organization. There is a data here in on-premise. Here in company there is a data. Now you want to link that data to AWS. So we use AWS Storage Gateway to link the data, just to link the data. It's not to store the data, just a link between organization and AWS. By using which protocol? NFS protocol.
Okay.
Clear everyone? Gateway, AWS storage gateway, just to link or connect the data from on-premise to AWS. And it is also called as hybrid storage service. Clear? Yes or no?
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Now
just 2 seconds. Can
AWS
you go back? One.
Sorry.
Just 1 second. Can you go back?
And what is the use of this connection?
It's just to link the data. If you want to link
Our
the data
data
from
to
companies to cloud or from cloud to company, we use the storage gateway.
Okay.
But it's not to store data, right? But it's
No,
only
it's not to
connecting
store
the link.
data, just to connect
it's
it.
just a gateway.
Okay.
Gateway, just a gateway like internet gateway, NAT gateway.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now AWS Snowball. AWS Snowball is a physical storage. Like for example, in Telangana, in Hyderabad, for example, in Hyderabad, there are 1 million people. So now 1 million people have 1 million Aadhaar cards, right? Each
Yes,
person
ma'am.
have Aadhaar cards, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So the
ma'am.
data of Aadhaar card, if you want to transfer the data of all the Aadhaar cards, which is stored, you need to transfer that to cloud. So you need Snowball. AWS provides you a Snowball. It's a physical storage which you need to connect to the storage, your company storage, and you need to transfer the data in that Snowball. Then you can copy the data and you can move the data to cloud. So it's a physical storage which supplied AWS. It's supplied by AWS to the customers for data migration. The huge terabytes data, if you want to transfer, you need to use Snowball. It will be very quick and fast.
నాకు నిన్న హాలిడేస్ మమ్మీ.
Clear everyone? Snowball.
Yes, ma'am.
If you want to transfer huge terabytes data, so you need to use Snowball.
Snowball.
You can transfer the data to Snowball. Then it will be moved to AWS cloud.
Yeah, you said data migration.
Yes. Clear everyone? Snowball,
Yeah.
it's a physical device, physical storage. If you request to AWS for Snowball, they will provide you this AWS Snowball in order to transfer the huge amount of data. Clear? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So this is all about S3 storage. Please, I'm giving you all 10
Ma'am, that
minutes.
Snowball, it's not a cloud.
No, it's a physical storage. Like physical storage, kind of like pen drive,
Okay.
where you need to copy the data. In pen drive, what we'll
Transferring,
do,
we are
we'll copy
using
the
the
data
cloud
in pen drive,
AWS.
then we'll connect to another device, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you will move the data. Similarly, this is a Snowball. It looks like this. If
Okay.
you want to transfer huge amount of data, then AWS provides Snowball to the customer. Clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
Can you just Google the Snowball, ma'am?
Google Snowball.
The picture of the snowball.
That much information.
It had like it's a physical device, right?
Physical device.
Yes, physical device.
How much memory it will be?
Terabyte.
Huge terabyte.
AWS.
Okay.
It looks like this.
Through this, we transfer data to cloud.
Yes.
From AWS to cloud.
From any company, from any customer to cloud.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. So I'm giving you all 10 minutes. Please revise the notes. Then here there are some interview questions. If you are perfect with this brief of storage and these three services, you will able to answer these questions. So I will not show these questions now. First prepare, go through these services. Then one by one, I will ask you that question. And you need to
Ma-
answer.
mm. Ma'am, can you
Ma'am,
share the first one? S3
yes,
one?
ma'am. First, yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is the first thing we have discussed today, ma'am, because I joined very late.
Yes. No, we
Okay.
have discussed out on storage.
Okay, from here.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I start the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask some questions, interview questions regarding this storage. Abeda,
Yes, ma'am.
expand S3, EFS, and EBS.
S3, 3SS service.
What's the full form of S3?
One second, ma'am. S3.
Only Abeda should answer. Others, please mute your mic. I will ask one by one to everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Service storage. Simple storage service.
And EFS?
EFS is one second, elastic file system,
Mm-hmm. And
and
EBS?
EBS is elastic
Is
block storage.
stick block store.
Store.
Okay, thank you,
Store.
Abeda.
Yes, ma'am.
Faria,
Yes, ma'am.
Faria, difference between HDD and SSD?
HDD and is
Yes. The first question. What's the difference between HDD and SSD?
it's like a hard disk derived, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, It's legal storage, slow and cheaper, not reliable.
Mm-hmm.
It is very big, ma'am, to use. And STD is a solid state device. It is very small and super fast and
Okay.
faster and more reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Latest technology in our new PC.
Yes. Oh, very good, Faria.
Thank you, ma'am.
Um, Diksha,
Yes, ma'am.
Diksha, if you your question is if you create EFS volume in Ohio region. So if AWS notified that AZ availability zone layer of Ohio is not healthy, then are we going to lose data or not?
Private network cloud storage.
See, if you create EFS volume in Ohio region, if you store the data in EFS in
Okay.
Ohio region in the availability zone A, and AWS notified that the availability zone something happened to availability zone A. So are we going to lose the data?
Highly durable and copy
Yes,
to
it's highly
multiple
durable.
data
Why?
zones. And copy
Yes,
to multiple data zone.
yes.
Sorry, multiple
Because
zones.
EFS it will copy to multiple zones.
Zones.
Very good, Diksha.
Um,
You have answered well. Right answer. Now, Sumaya, Sumaya,
Yes, ma'am.
Farhayas. Okay, Sumaya, if you create EBS, if you store the data in EBS in Ohio region in availability zone A, if AWS notified that availability zone A is not healthy, are we going to lose data? We have stored the data in EBS.
We need to allocate it somewhere else. It's per destination, but the thing is, we we can store it, but we need to pay charges for it, isn't it?
Yes, you
It's
need to
not
pay
durable
charges. Why it's not durable?
because it's allocated per destination, per location.
Yes, it's only one zone. It
One zone.
doesn't copy the data in multiple zones.
Okay.
In EBS, it copies it will be only in one zone, the
One
data.
zone. Okay.
Whereas in EFS and S3, data will be copied in multiple
In
zones.
multiple zones. Yeah.
Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Farha Yasmin.
Yes.
Okay. Snowball is a physical or a virtual storage?
It's a physical storage.
Yes, it's a physical storage. And can you say something about Snowball? Why we use Snowball?
It is used to transfer a huge amount of data from
Yes,
organizations to cloud.
yes. Very good. Farah Yasmin. Bushra Amreen.
Yes, ma'am.
Bushra
Yes,
Amreen.
yes, ma'am.
Why we use S3, EFS and EBS?
S3 is a simple storage service. It's usually for it is usually designed for storing images and the data which is like personal data, you can say, for a small amount of unstructured data. And
Okay.
it is and EFS is file storage system. It stores structured data, and makes both of these S3 and EFS makes copies of data into different
Mm-hmm.
regions, and
Mm-hmm.
it has less cost. It charges less,
Mm-hmm.
and EBS is stores data in one particular region. It is usually for launching servers
Mm-hmm.
like OS, launching an OS,
Mm-hmm.
and it does not store copies of data in different regions.
Yes. Very good. So now S3 we will store in S3 we store objects, right? Photos, videos.
Yeah,
You can
objects
also
and
store,
unstructured data is stored in
yes,
S3.
it's not only personal data. Like for Flipkart application, in Flipkart application there are many photos, right? The photos of dresses, the photos of watch, glasses, shoes.
Yeah, the
What are
personal
these?
data would
These
not
all
be
are
the correct word.
photos.
The correct word would be unstructured and object data.
Yes. Not only personal data. In S3, you're not only storing the personal data, you're storing the application's data. This is the photos which you will be storing in S3. These photos and some videos, the review videos or
Yeah,
the
the videos on
YouTube
the
videos.
website, the animated videos on the website, or there are so many.
Yes, so that videos and photos will be stored in S3. Clear?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Bushramreen.
thank you, ma'am.
Rajeshwari.
Yes, ma'am.
Rajeshwari, how much data I can store in S3, EFS and EBS?
Yes, 3 is unlimited, ma'am. And
Yes.
EFS is 16 TB.
No. EFS is also unlimited.
Unlimited EBS is for
EBS
of
is
storage
16
maximum in
TB.
EBS is 16 TB, ma'am. EFS is
Yes.
unlimited.
Yes. In S3 and EFS, you can store unlimited data, and
Unlimited.
in EBS, you can
16
store up to 16
TB.
TB per volume.
Yes,
Clear?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wahida,
Ma'am.
Wahida, S3 is a block storage, yes or no?
No, ma'am, it's a simple storage.
No, it's a okay.
It's a
So what's
simple
the
storage.
difference between
We
block
store the
storage
data
and
in
object
object.
storage?
Yeah, object. In the object, we store the data.
Yes. So S3 is a block storage, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
In the form, yeah, code object means it's nothing but the block, no, ma'am. So it's a yes.
No, block is elastic block store where you store operating systems
Okay, ma'am.
and applications. So
Mm,
EBS is a block storage and S3 is a object level storage.
okay, ma'am.
So now S3 is block storage.
And
True
EBS
or
is the
false?
yes, ma'am. S3 is not the block storage. It's a
Object level
object level
storage.
storage, and EBS is the block storage.
Yes, very good. Now, Farisa,
Yes, ma'am.
Farisa, if I allocate EBS volume size as 100 GB and I'm using only
Okay.
30 GB, so AWS will charge on based on 30 GB or 100 GB?
How much you have allocated?
100 GB. And I'm using only
Okay.
30 GB.
So, according to the allocation, they will charge. That's 100 GB.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
So, very good, everyone. Everyone have given the good answers. That means you have all have understood the theory of storage. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I proceed now?
Yes, ma'am.
With this, we have completed the theory. Now, in labs, what we are going to do? We are going to create bucket. We are going to do website hosting, static website hosting, and we are going to see how to protect from accidental deletes, and we will be deleting all the buckets in labs. Clear, everyone? First, we are going to create a bucket.